Welcome to Nicomuras, a world full of sprawling cities and dark secrets. In the wake of the trial, a divine act of righteous judgment, the world has been launched into an era of rebirth. But there are those who still lust for darkness and ruin. Follow us across the continent of Talira, from the deserts of Elon Ryan to the fields of Rivaluna. Deep in the Bloomrose Ocean and high above the Alisar Mountains, our story will see our adventurers through glory, fear, and fortune as they make their way through the Paper Dungeon.
Awesome, fantastic. Welcome back to another episode of the Paper Dungeon. Today, we're going to be doing Lydia's one-shot for her character, Riniya. So that's going to be super, super rad. Do you have anything you want to say, Lydia?
Hi.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and just get right into it. Might as well. So, Riniya. You have been living in the city of Athala for quite some time now. For various reasons, you made your way to the city, feeling like you needed to help out where you could. And so you have been making your way through different organizations and places, trying to just help you where you can. But you found yourself settled at the Silver Oak Orphanage. It's in the lower portion of the city of Athala, within the first ring. So not the slummiest of places, but not also the highest of end here in the city of Athala. It's a pretty beautiful orphanage, well funded actually. It's been basically adopted by a number of different churches here in the city of Athala. And so there's been quite a bit of funding that's been gone into it. The reason why it's called the Silver Oak Orphanage is because many of the timbers used for the construction of it are silver oak, which is this beautiful kind of gray shimmering hardwood, similar to that of oak, that has been made up and used to make the majority of this building, along with some accent brick and some other stained wood and stuff like that, just to really make the building pop as this really beautiful place. A lot of times people will talk about how they hear laughter coming from there. There's quite a big yard on the backside of it, and so the kids get to play and stuff like that. And it's quite a fairly popular orphanage. You're very thankful that in the time that you've been working there, there hasn't been a single kid that's been there for as long as you have. They come in and are adopted pretty quickly, which is a pretty awesome system. And so on this day, is you're going to wake up. You wake up just like you would any other day. You have your own room here in the orphanage, in the Silver Oak Orphanage, one that you have been living in. It's modest. It's a large estate, but mostly filled with as many rooms as they could cram in to fit as many kids as they could. And so you do have your own room. You do share a communal bathroom with some of the other kids in your wing. You met one of the wings is for a little bit of the older girls, and so you're staying with them, kind of acting as a little bit of a leader to them. And then allowing yourself to just hang out and be whatever you need to be for this orphanage. And so you wake up and you have your regular morning. You wake up and you head downstairs to where usually kids are gathering for food. It's just that regular kitchen area with plenty of food getting served. There's lots of seating along these three pretty large rectangular tables that can seat probably about 15 people on either side. There you can see that there's a number of the kids that you've begun to get to know. And there's one little gnomish woman, her name is Kawe, who has been kind of the proprietor of this orphanage and been taking care of it. And you can see that she's up at the front with lots of bowls. It looks like feeding kids with some soup. So yeah, what would you like to do?
Riniya is going to go over to Calway, is what you said?
Yeah, Calway. Calwe.
Neat. Okay, so she's gonna go over to her and just be like, is there anything I can help you with? You want me to help you?
Oh no, don't worry about it, darling. You just have yourself a bowl, and she hands you this bowl, and then kind of ushers you to go sit down by some of the kids at a table. You can see there's a couple different groups. The kids usually get to they usually end up making friends and finding their own little niches. You can see that there's one little gnomish boy that you don't recognize sitting by himself off at one table.
Naturally, I'm gonna go over to him.
Of course, as you would. You go over and you can see that he's pretty gaunt, even for a gnome, and pretty short for it too. And so he's just sitting there by himself. You can see that he has his bowl of soup and a book actually, and he's just sitting there reading his book. And as you approach, he kind of looks up at you, but like doesn't make eye contact with you, and just kind of stays down before you eventually sit down next to him. At which point he doesn't actually say anything. He just kind of scoots a little bit further from you and continues to read his book.
Riniya's gonna sit down and she's going to just start eating. Not say anything much, but every now and then she'll just be like to see if he's looking up at her.
Every once in a while you will catch him looking at you. It's weird. You don't recognize him, so he hasn't been here for very long. And you can tell by his demeanor that the little bit of amount of time that he has been here, he hasn't really talked to anybody. And so you can see that by you being here constantly, he's slightly uncomfortable, not in a way that like is bad, it's just not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like every once in a while giving you like an eyeball in kind of a little bit of confusion, but he's not like totally against it is what you kind of gain the vibe for.
I'm going to keep looking up, and anytime I catch his eye, give a little wink.
Oh.
And then take up my soup and just like start slurping really loud.
He kind of starts to Google a little bit, and he doesn't really say anything, but he just actually like picks up the whole bowl and does the same thing, not looking at you, but just slurps up some soup as well.
Okay, and then as soon as he does that, I'm gonna pick up mine and do the same, but do it purposefully so I get a little soup mustache. And and then when he looks over, I'm gonna pretend to play with it.
Nice. So yeah, he at this point you've managed to get him to start to giggle, and he kind of looks up at you, and again, not saying anything. He's a very, very quiet little gnomish boy, but he does actually get up and he goes over to the other side of the table and just sits down next to you, and then he puts his book between you guys so you could also read what he's reading. It's just a simple book on basic anatomy of different sea creatures, and so there's like stuff about seahorses and turtles and dolphins and all of these different types of things. Just the basic anatomy and like their what their species are known for and what they do and the behaviors that they portray and stuff like that. It's kind of the essence that you're getting from this book. And he just continues to flip through it. Every once in a while, he slurps from his bowl. Yeah. So you guys do that for a little bit before, probably about 10 minutes or so, 10 or 15 minutes before Kawe announces to the whole group, all right, let's get going. Time for our activities. Go ahead and break up into your groups, which is a common thing. One of the things that they do to try and promote community here is they will assign everyone a group of 5 or 6 kids to each other. And then one of the volunteers is kind of their leader and in charge of just watching them, making sure they play together, helping them through any problems that they have. Calway looks over at you and looks at Sam, the kid, says, Samuel, you'll be with Riniya. You stay with her. And so he kind of scoots up next to you, a little bit closer to you, before some of your other kids stick around. It's weird because he's the only small gnomish boy in your group of probably about 4 or 5 14 to 15-year-old girls. You have a couple of human girls, one elvish girl, and then another gnomish girl as well. And they're all just hanging out. One of them looks at you and goes, Miss Riniya, can we go outside and play with some of the balls?
Oh, yes, of course. I'll be right out. And then I'm going to turn to Samuel, and I'm going to be like, so your name's Samuel?
Yeah.
You know, I once knew a sailor named Samuel.
Oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What?
You remind me a lot like him.
Okay.
You got the bravery in your eye. Are you ready to go out and do the activities?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
And he the book that he's reading is probably about as big as his whole torso. And so he closes the book and grabs it and then starts waddling out towards the yard, at which point you follow him and exit, and all your girls are out playing with some of the balls, passing them around, kind of gossiping a little bit and enjoying themselves. But Samuel goes over and he just finds a nice little shaded patch of grass, at which point he plops down that book again and continues going through it.
I love this kid. Okay, I'm gonna see that he's found a nice little spot for himself, and then I'm gonna go over and start joining with the girls.
Perfect. Yeah, you go over and they immediately bring you into their game. It looks like at the moment they're just kind of like passing the ball around and just talking. They're talking about some of the other boys in the orphanage and who they think is cute. They're talking about what they think their parents who adopt them might be like, hoping that they will be adopted soon, stuff like that. And before long, after a little while, they begin to go off and play with some of the other boys as well. It looks like just simple games of like tag or hide and seek, just common games. A couple of them go over and they actually have created a little like fake marbles set with like some pebbles and stuff. It's actually it works pretty well for being so hobbled together, which is kind of cool. But eventually they all begin to gather again, as they're now supposed to go back to their rooms to do some studying for the little bit of homeschooling the orphanage does provide. And so you know that this is supposed to be a quiet hour. All of your girls begin to leave, but Samuel just stays by the tree, apparently totally unaware of what's going on around him. Just very developed in this book.
Okay, so I'll walk over and I'll try to be pretty like slow to stroll up.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna kind of like try and sneak up on him.
Okay.
And like surprise him a little bit. Like I don't want to like scare him, but be like, oh.
Okay, then go ahead and roll stealth for me.
Yeah.
First roll for this character ever.
That is an 18.
Oh, yeah, easily. This kid is focused. He is driven. He's a mind-melding machine, developing this book and devouring this book and really bringing it in. And so you come up behind him, and you manage to sneak up. You even like snap a twig, and he just doesn't notice at all. And he goes in, and he's just hanging out there. And you come up behind him and just give him a little boo. At which point he jumps up and like closes the book and almost like hits you with it, but he like tries to like reach up, but it's too heavy and like kind of falls over backwards.
I gotta like try and catch him.
That was mean.
Sorry. I thought it would be fun. You were just so enveloped in it, and anyway, it's time to go in.
Oh, okay. And he tries to like get his fingers underneath the corner of the book to like lift this up.
I just like I can take that for you if you'd like.
Okay.
I'll keep it safe. And I like kind of like hug it up to my chest so he knows I've got it protected.
Yeah. You guys begin to make your way inside, and he just like grabs your elbows, like the sleeve on your elbow, and just walks with you guys. And so you go in, you lead him. He leads you back to what you've discovered is to be his room, which has basically nothing in it besides the traditional cot, and one little desk with like 3 or 4 books stacked on top of it. And he goes immediately to the desk and begins to study. And you're very much getting the feeling this kid likes to read quite a bit. You know that you're supposed to leave them to their studies, just be there if they have any questions, stuff like that. So you retreat to your room where you have a couple different books for yourself as well, different things that you've been studying. You have your journal and your notes from your different adventures that you've been on in the past, stuff like that. And as you guys, as the couple of hours that they're supposed to be studying begin to wrap up, you can hear a faint ding, 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 as you recognize the dinner bell is sounded for the kids to come eat dinner. They're actually quite rambunctious, as being quiet for 3 or 4 hours, doing nothing but like working on school and studying is difficult for most of them. And so as soon as they hear this bell, there's screaming and giggling and laughing as they all begin to like make their way down towards the kitchen again. You can, as you make your way down, Kalway and a couple other helpers are serving sandwiches. At which point she calls you over and is like, "Renat, come help." And just puts you down at a station, just putting sandwiches on plates and then just handing them to the kids as they come by. There's a couple of kids that like try and get like 2 or 3 sandwiches, which is not allowed. So you have to kind of back them off a little bit. Some of the little chunkier boys are all about it. But they go through and they have their dinner and all of this. And then, as you know, after dinner, again, they'll have about an hour to hang out and rest up before they're supposed to go to bed. Again, you see Samuel off by himself reading his book with your girls are all playing, typing, and hanging out. And so he continues to do this. He reads for this a little bit. Is there anything that you'd like to do before bedtime?
When I would just hang out with the girls, she'd always like take a few minutes just to check back on Samuel, see how he's doing, which he'd always be reading.
Which he'd just be reading. Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. So you go through and you do that. You hang out with your girls. It's lots of fun. They're braiding each other's hair and hanging out. They pull out some cards and start to play a little bit of card games. They actually like whip up a little bit of a poker match, and it gets like fairly heated.
That's my girls.
Yeah, right. And then you continue to check up on Samuel, and he's still there reading his book. Once they start playing poker, he's a little bit more interested because it's not just him hanging out with a bunch of older girls now. It's like, hey, that might be something kind of fun. But he looks like he's trying to figure out how the game is played while you guys are playing it, and just is not getting it. But eventually, it does come time for you to go to bed, and you begin to usher your girls, and then you take Samuel to his room, tuck him in. He doesn't really say anything. He just kind of smiles at you. He looks the happiest that you've seen him today, just hanging out with you before you eventually retire to your room. Is there anything that you'd like to do before you go to bed?
I'm going to do my usual ritual.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of just like peek out the window and just look at the little scene I have, and then smile and head back to bed.
Nice. Yeah, where the orphanage is kind of in this interesting area of town, as the orphanage is on the far side of the road, but just across the road there's this large plaza with a fountain in the middle and some benches, and you can see that it's actually pretty well lit. There's lots of little torches that hang out and lampposts and stuff like that. It's pretty well lit, and you can see that there's a number of different people hanging out. You can see couples walking along. It's interesting because the plaza has a fountain, but the fountain is sourced by this stream that actually goes to the middle of the plaza that has 4 bridges across it. And so you have this really kind of picturesque little plaza with, you can see there's some people dancing, and there's a little bit of music playing, and there's all those little shops. It's a very, very nice little spot. The orphanage in and of itself is definitely on the nicer end of the lower end communities. Here in Athala, everybody's fairly wealthy comparatively to some other places in the world. Athala is a pretty rich city, as it has a lot of imports and exports of different magical goods. It is in the base of the mountain, so mining is the biggest thing that provides for this. The mining of different rare minerals, all these different things. There's some rare magical items that help out with the enchanting that, not magical items, magical elements that help out with enchanting and stuff like that. They're all mined here in the Luninkona Mountains. And so Anthala is pretty wealthy for the city that it is. So even here in the lower section of the city, it is pretty wealthy comparatively to some other parts of the world. So it's a nice little scene. So you go through and you enjoy your view. You then finish up your rituals, burning your incense, going through your prayers, everything like that. And then you go to bed. I'll go ahead and have you roll a perception check for me.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's not good. That's a 7.
Yeah, so you sleep like a rock, you know? You've had an excellent day. You met a new friend. You had a nice little moment to just hang out before you had to go to bed. You feel like you're doing some really good work here. And so you wake up, and again, it's the same thing. You wake up and you head down to the main hall. Callway is again serving what looks like this time bread and cheese as breakfast. And as you're going through, one by one, your girls groggily make their way down. But you can see something interesting. Go ahead and make a intelligence check for me one more time as well. Or a history check if that's better.
Okay. Well, that's a much better roll. So that's a 17.
Very nice. Yeah. So the first thing you notice is that Samuel hasn't come down yet. You also notice that at this point, just about everyone is down except for Samuel and 2 other kids. There's one human boy that was here yesterday that is no longer there, and then an elvish girl that is also not there. Not thinking too much of it. It's not uncommon for kids to sleep in. They know that it's their responsibility to come get breakfast. If they don't make it down there, then they miss out on breakfast that day, and that's just how it is. And so it's not too big of a concern. But after a little while, Samuel still hasn't come down, and it's beginning to become a little bit of a concern for you.
Okay. Riniya will give him a little more time because she knows that he's been known to zone out a little bit. But seeing that the other two haven't shown up, have they?
Nope.
She's gonna first go up and check on Samuel's room.
Okay. Yeah, you go up to Samuel's room and the door is closed. You go up and you knock a little bit, and you don't hear any response. And so you crack open the door, and you can see that his sheets, while he has his like fitted sheet, his thin bed sheet is actually gone. His books are stacked neatly, and you can see that the window that he has, the lock on it is actually broken.
Uh-oh. I'm very quickly going to go to the other 2 rooms.
Yeah, it's a similar situation. Most of the stuff looks like they're there, or that it was there, and there wasn't much of a sign of struggle. But again, that one bed sheet is missing, along with the broken locks on one of their windows. The other one doesn't have a broken lock.
Okay, the one with the broken lock, can I investigate it and see like how it was broken?
Yeah, go for it.
That's 16.
Perfect. Yeah, let's play. So looking at the two broken locks, you begin to realize that one of them, the one that wasn't in Samuel's room, um, looks like it was broken so as to enter the room, and the one going into Samuel's room looks like it was so it was broken from the outside in, versus the one in Samuel's room, it was broken from the inside out.
Okay. He's got a little path going. Okay, I see him. Okay, Riniya's in like panic mode and is going to kind of calm herself before going in to find Kalwe.
Okay.
Kind of compose herself and then very quietly and calmly go over to her whenever she has a moment.
Yeah. So the last of the kids are beginning to get their food. She hands off one more plate and then kind of wipes her hands on her apron and kind of just looks over the scene proudly, knowing that she takes care of so many children and is very proud of herself. And then you come over and she looks up at you and goes, "Ah, Riniya, how can I help you?"
Hi. I don't want to alarm you. But a few of the kids are missing. And their rooms have been broken into.
Okay.
And Riniya's like kind of losing her composure.
Okay. All right. Here, come over here. And Kali kind of pulls you back so that you're not at least facing the kids. So I'm kind of in the back corner and begins to talk to you. She's like, okay, all right, we can't let the kids know. Does it look like they might have run away, or is it something more sinister?
I think something came in.
That's not good. Well, we could let's get a hold of some guards and see if they can start an investigation. Unfortunately, they're orphan kids, and so usually the city doesn't have the time or the funding to help find them. Usually, it's families that are putting up the funds to provide for that, but we can always try. All right, I'll go grab some guards. And she quickly leaves, and you can see she exit the kitchen dining room area towards a hallway that leads up to the front door, and you can hear the heavy oak door closes.
Riniya's gonna head back up to whichever room was the one that was broken in.
Okay. Yeah. So you know this room to be one of the it was that human boy that was missing. His name was Jonathan. Just a simple name. Not a lot of the kids here have last names. If they do, it's something that they usually try and forget and stuff like that. So you know him to be Jonathan. The little elvish girl was Filet. And so between the two of them, it does look, yeah, you can tell that it was broken into. What exactly are you looking for in here?
Footprints, direction they left in when they broke out of Samuel's room.
Yeah. Perfect.
Just any indication of that.
Yeah, go ahead and make an investigation check.
That's a 17.
Beautiful. Yeah, so one of the responsibilities of each of the kids is to keep their room clean. One of your responsibilities as one of the chaperoning girls is to go through and make sure that every single night each one of your girls' room is clean. One of the things that you guys pride yourself here in this orphanage is not only just caring for the kids, but helping them to develop into functioning members of society, helping them to learn and have an education, be productive with their time, studying, cleaning, stuff like that. And so it's rather odd. It's pretty obvious to you when you look down on the floor. You can see several what looks like boot prints of different varying sizes, all looking to be roughly the size of a humanoid of some sort. And as you kind of look down at it, you think that there's probably 3 sets of boot prints in here. They make their way through. There's a little bit of like a runner in the hallway, or like a running rug, basically. And so the boot prints go out towards that, and they begin to make their way what looks like down one hall before they actually get on that rug, and so you can't quite see them. But you follow them and you realize that it leads down to Filet's room, just down. So there's a staircase that leads up, and then you can go either left or you can go right. If you go right, it's through the older boys' wing. If you go left, it's through the older girls' wing, which is your wing. And so they come from the older boys' wing and goes across the staircase and over to the older girls' wing, where they enter her room. They're kind of around in there. And then they make their way back out. And then what would be, as you follow them, they go down towards the staircase to the lower wing beneath the boys' wing, to where Samuel would be. And that's where you can see that they took off.
Okay. Riniya is going to head back to the front to see if any guards have come.
Yeah, you can see Calway talking to a couple guards. They look concerned, and one of them actually begins to make his way down the street in a little bit of a hurried pace. But none of them are immediately coming to the orphanage.
Okay. Riniya is gonna go over to Calway and is gonna just very panicky, just like what did they say? What are they gonna do? What's our plan?
You just gotta stay calm, okay? One of the guards is going to go get his captain. They're gonna see what they can do. Maybe put together an investigation. They are basically. It sounds like they're gonna be able to search for just a few hours before they will have to return to their post. Unfortunately,
that's not enough.
I know, sweetheart. You came to us looking for a place to help people. And you're very, very talented. You could always see what you could find on your own, possibly to help the investigation. I'm sure they would love whatever help they can have to keep themselves staying lazy at their posts. You could always try that. Otherwise, we just have to hope that they can do something.
What more can I do?
Well, is there anything? Let's go check out the rooms and see if we can find anything that might be a clue to where they were going or anything like that. And she begins making her way back. As you guys go through the rooms, she doesn't find anything that you didn't notice. She basically ends up finding the boot prints, following them along the path, stuff like that, before eventually making her way back to Samuel's room, where it's very clear that it was broken out of. And you can see that there are a little bit of boot prints that lead down the road from the orphanage, but they kind of disappear into the crowd. This is a fairly busy area of town, and so you could probably follow them, possibly, but it would take a little bit of looking and searching.
Okay. Calway, do we have any idea who could have done this?
Horrible group of people. Who would steal children from an orphanage? What more do these children need? It's very, very sad. You can tell as you're looking at Calway, this is the first time you've ever heard of something like this happening to her orphanage. It's the first time you've heard of, you've heard of kids getting kidnapped before and stuff like that, but never people breaking into a place specifically to steal kids in any fashion like this. And it's really, it's very concerning, you guys, while you're wealthy and have funding, it's not like you can afford arcane locks or a full-time security detail or anything like that. You guys are stuck with what you got, which is locked rooms and latched windows, and that wasn't enough. So it's a little concerning to you guys. Yeah. So you can tell that Callaway is very heartbroken and ready. She looks like she just needs to like sit down. So you go through, as you're kind of like figuring this out, she kind of makes her way out of Sammy's room and towards what you know to be her office. And she just turns to you and just says, let me know if the guards discover anything. Before heartbrokenly, she makes her way into what you know to be her office and room.
Callaway, one last thing. Samuel, where did he
Yes?
come from?
He was someone new. We don't know. He'd only been here for a couple of days.
Do we know anything?
No, he just showed up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And she turns and goes into her room.
She's gonna let her go, and then she's just gonna take a moment. She's gonna take a breath, and then just the look of determination is going across her face. And she is going to go outside.
Okay.
And around to where Samuel's window is going to be, and she's going to start trying to follow those tracks.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Go ahead and roll a survival check.
That's an 18.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, so not last night, but the night before it had managed to rain a little bit. And so there was just a little bit of mud that was on the streets. It's a tiled street, but there is the dirt between the tiles and stuff like that. And so rain. Well, it's kind of difficult to get rain actually in Anthala, as the city itself is built halfway into this giant crevice in the mountain, and so rain actually has to be coming at an angle to actually make it into this cave where the city is built into. But they did manage to do that this other night, and so there's just enough mud that you can begin to follow some tracks, and you go through and you're following them. They start out by heading. So Samuel's room was at the front of the orphanage. So you head out the front door and you follow these tracks as they lead out right. And the cool thing about this section of the city is that there's lots of plazas that the roads just kind of like weave around and through. And you begin to make your way through over probably about 120 feet before taking a left as you follow the road, and it kind of curves around before it splits. You kind of go left or right as it goes around this massive plaza. This one's actually really cool because it's a recessed plaza, and so it's all dug in a little bit more, and you can see there's like some amphitheaters and places for theatrical performances, all that good stuff in this kind of recessed plaza. And as you're going through, you continue to follow the footsteps. It gets really rather difficult as the further towards this plaza you get, the more busy it gets. Go ahead and roll another survival check for me.
Ooh. That's a 9.
Yeah. So as you're going through, the boot prints begin to get covered and mixed, and they're day old. Tracks are a little bit slow, but you managed to kind of get the vague direction as they were kind of going down right. You're not following the tracks anymore, but that's kind of the direction that they led. They went instead of going up and around the plaza, or really I shouldn't say up and around, but to the left and around the plaza, they're going right. And so you kind of make your way that way. There's several staircases that lead down into this plaza. It's a pretty popular place with lots of people hanging out in there. And as you're going through, roll one more survival check for me to see if you can find these tracks again.
That's a natural 1.
Oof. Yeah, so you're going through and you kind of begin to follow them just a little bit more and pick them up before eventually, just between the crowd and everything else, they kind of disappear.
Oh. Okay. Would she know the area pretty well by now?
Yeah. So you know the lower section of Athala pretty well. You've been here for a few months now, hanging out and enjoying the city, working here at the orphanage in a couple of different places, and so you know the city fairly well.
Okay. I don't even know what the right question to ask. Would she have? So wait. So did they go so they went around the plaza?
Yeah. So there's the plaza just in front of your orphanage, and there's a road that leads in front of the plaza going out right. So you followed that road as it kind of curled around and in through the city, and then there's another plaza, this recessed plaza, that has two paths that go around it, and they went on the right path going around it.
Okay.
And you're kind of in the middle of that path right now.
Well, Riniya, what do you do? Okay. Riniya is going to kind of drat and then turn around and retrace the footprints. Now that she kind of knows their path, she's going to look to see if there's like anything else.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead and just roll a perception check for me.
Okay. Okay, that's a 17.
Yeah. So as you're going through, you, as someone who likes to keep up on just different dangers that are around you of different sources and varieties, you have begun to be able to pick up on different telltale signs of locales that might have some more sinister actions taking place beneath the surface. And as you're going back, there is this one shop that's just a little bit darker than the rest in demeanor and color and just overall atmosphere around it. There's lots of shops all around. There's shops for food, little knickknacks, wood carvings, but this small little kind of blackened shack kind of stands out differently than the rest. And you've passed by the shack before. It doesn't have a name. There's no name to the establishment or anything like that. But it does have one kind of large window, and you can just see a lot of like hanging puppets with like the strings that they would be controlled by. There's just a few of those hanging in the shop, as it almost looks like there's like soot like lining the window on the outside.
Ew. So wait, I'm sorry. So what led me here?
So as you're just looking about, for some reason this shop stood out to you as a place that would be less adverse to people of ill nature.
There's something sketch.
Yeah.
This place sketch. Okay.
Yes. That's an excellent way of putting it.
Riniya is gonna and walk up and like she's like puffing her chest a little bit, trying to look strong, but like her face is clearly showing that she's a little stressed about going over here.
Nice. Yeah, so as you approach, like I said, it's a pretty dark establishment. Definitely not a place that you like to be around for your own personal reasons. But as you approach, again, there's the dolls in the window, and you can't really see past it. Something about it. The window's dirty and sooted, and it looks like there's like corrosion beginning to wean in on the edges of this window. And there's just these few dolls hanging there, these few puppets hanging there as you approach. And do you enter the establishment?
very slowly.
Very nice. You enter the establishment, and there's a lot more puppets, but also random knickknacks. You can see that there are what looks like odd musical instruments made from weird plants, possibly body parts as well, made out of bone and such. You can see that there are dice with weird symbols on them, little bottles of dark liquids, random hunks of metal. You can see that there's beat up armor and weapons and stuff like that, all just kind of randomly thrown into the shack, without a whole lot of organization or key to it. And when you enter, there's a little bell that kind of goes off, but at the moment you're by yourself.
Hello? Is anybody here? New customer. Very unique atmosphere you have.
Yeah. You don't hear anything. Nobody approaches. You are just completely by yourself in this building.
Okay. Do I see like any like other rooms, any like doors?
Yeah, so when you enter the shop, there's kind of this random, right immediately to your left, there's a shelf of random knickknacks, and then there's actually a desk, or a counter off to your left, and you can see there's a back room behind there with a curtain like covering the entryway, and then the rest of the establishment out to your right. Immediately to your right is that window where you can see there's dolls and stuff hanging. There's one bookshelf that goes through the middle of the room, and then you can see there are other shelves that line the outside of the room, and it's all just cluttered with what looks like junk and random items. It looks kind of like a hoarder's house, all that good stuff.
Okay. So Riniya is going to slowly walk towards the counter, like to go around it. But before she goes around it, she kind of pauses for a moment.
Yeah.
And then jumps around to like scare anything that's behind the desk. Is there anything behind the desk?
There's a variety of different things. You actually do manage to scare something. There's a large, probably about a foot from nose to hiney, toad, with little bulbous bumps and warts. And it just kind of looks at you and just goes, and then like hops up onto the counter and then disappears into the junk.
Okay, and then she's just gonna go to the curtain and is gonna like peek in.
Yeah. So you peek past the curtain and you can see there's basically one hallway that leads out right, that goes in accordance with the rest of the building, to what looks like you can see there's one doorway, just cracked open, and you can see there's like a little bit of a bed in there, and a desk and stuff like that as you look past that. And then directly to the left of that hallway is a staircase leading up to what looks like a second story with a closed door at the moment. And you can hear ever so slight murmuring from that upper room.
Okay. Riniya is gonna close the curtain, look back, and see if she can see the toad.
You do not see a toad.
Okay, she's gonna go in the curtain.
Nice. Which way do you go?
She's gonna go upstairs.
Perfect. Awesome. As you are in this unnamed establishment, surrounded by knickknacks and things that of an odd variety, looking for these 3 kids that are missing, I'm hoping that you could find some sort of clue. We're actually going to take a break right now. We'll be back in like 10 minutes or so, and then we'll continue with where Riniya is at. with Riniya. She had made her way into this, as she described it, sketch establishment. It had a variety of odd knickknacks, broken armor, rusted swords, creepy-looking dolls, weird vials, stuff like that. She'd entered the establishment and was not greeted by anyone. She then made her way towards the desk, at which point she scared a frog, or a toad, I should say. There's a difference. And it jumped into the random amount of stuff before she made her way behind the back curtain and began to make her way up the stairs towards what she heard to be murmuring. We'll go ahead and just start with having you roll a stealth check for me, Lydia.
Oh, that was almost a 9, but it landed on 16 plus 3, so 19.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so you make your way up these stairs, trying really hard not to let the wood creak under your weight at all. There's no banister. They're just slats of wood going up this wall. And so you kind of try to hug the wall, and you go up and you listen to the door. Are you going to try and crack the door open a little bit so you can hear it a little bit better, or are you going to just try and hear through the door?
I'm first just going to listen.
Okay, perfect. Roll a perception check.
Okay. 14?
Okay. Yeah, you are struggling to make out specific words and details. It sounds like there's 4 people in the room. 3 of them are a little bit of a deeper voice, and then one of them a much slower, kind of very drawn out voice.
Okay. Can I hear anything they're saying? Can I make out any words?
Yeah, you're hearing a few different things. The slower, drawn out voice says, you make out something along the lines of, patience, patience, my children, our Lord, and then it fades out. You can hear, it seems like the 3 lower voices are disagreeing on something. You hear something along the lines of, we should do something now, versus we need to wait, different things along those lines. It's kind of the general vibe that you're getting as this fairly deep, but still you now tell is a feminine voice, ever so slightly feminine. Voice is trying to be the voice of reason and caution here, as she draws out her words and stuff.
Did she hear correctly, our Lord?
Yes.
Oh, she's not happy. Okay. She's gonna try to stealthily go back downstairs.
Okay.
Into that other room.
Okay, yeah, you make your way downstairs. I'll say it's the same stealth check, so you don't have to reroll that. And you go down into this other room, and as the door is already creaked open, so you kind of peek inside just to see what's in there. And you can see that there's nobody residing in the room. There is a large what would be a mattress, except it does have these posts to have like curtains around it, kind of that style of stuff. But instead of there being a mattress and stuff like that, you can see that there's this mound of grass-covered dirt with a little like divot in the top of it. The whole general aesthetic of the room has this green tint to it, not like a playful, lively green tint of colorful plant light, but that of like dark, muted greens, stuff along those lines. The paint between the painting on the furniture that is chipped and faded, and the general demeanor, along with the fact that there is moss and other kind of darker algae-styled plants growing in this room. You kind of get that vibe with it. You can see that there's, along with that mound of dirt, grass-covered dirt, there's bookshelves that have random knickknacks. These ones seems to be more deliberate in how they were placed and where they were. You can see there's a collection of different shells, and another one has a variety of different bones with little symbols etched in them. There's books in a variety of languages. You can see there's a few jars that have random body parts like eyes and toes in them, and kind of this darkish green liquid. And then there is one, basically it's a dresser, kind of like a pretty low dresser that has a mirror on top of it. And the mirror is cracked, and it has corrosion on the sides. And you can see that there's one bowl in front of it that just has a kind of murky green liquid in it.
Okay. I'm going to try to figure out what this liquid is.
Okay.
But I don't want to touch it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an Arcana check with disadvantage.
Okay. Okay. No, that's unfortunate. 7.
Yeah, so you go up to it, and you can't quite tell if this is a bowl for looking into. It's very murky, and you can't see your reflection, but you can't really see your reflection in the mirror either. But it's not drinking water either. At which point, as you're like looking into this bowl, you hear a little thud, and it actually makes you like jump for just a second, as that toad kind of jumps into the room and then looks at you and goes, and then jumps, and then jumps, and then just kind of cuddles up, not on the mound of dirt, but like right next to it. It kind of like curves in almost like a beanbag. And so he like cuddles in underneath one of the curves.
That's so disturbingly cute. I'm gonna go over to it.
Okay.
And kind of just check out what's around it.
The toad?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go through. Do you go past the curtain or not?
Yeah, I go past the curtain.
So it's a very odd sensation, as when you go past the curtain, it's your stomach churns for just a second, as you're no longer in a dark room surrounded by green objects, but you're actually in this kind of murky, swampish forest. Still with the wooden, the very nicely decorated wood carved poles that hold up the curtains. There's still that mound of grass in front of you. There's still the toad, but now all outside of that curtain is this murky bog that you're surrounded by.
I know this probably isn't what I was going to be like, but I'm really hoping this toad is pulling some like Alice in Wonderland White Rabbit stuff right now.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just like the room set up and then just a huge swamp.
Mm.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So it's not even the room. It's just that mound of dirt with the frog underneath it, and just like a I'm trying to think, like a vaulted bed is what it's called, or something like that, where it has those draperies around them. The draperies are all the same, but outside of the draperies, instead of there being the room and Athala and all that, is this giant boggish wood.
Okay. Is the curtain still there?
Yeah.
I'm gonna step back out.
Awesome. Go ahead and just roll a d20 for me, would you?
$19.
Cool. Yeah, you come back out and it's the same room.
Do I still see the frog?
Yeah, the frog's there, still there.
I'm gonna like kind of squat down a little and whisper to him.
Do you go back in the curtain?
No, I'm still
Okay.
like hanging out, but
Okay.
Croak once if I'm supposed to follow you. Don't say anything if you want me to leave. Okay, I didn't say there's not a 3 option. That wasn't what we discussed. Okay. I'm gonna go back in.
Okay. Yeah, and it's that bug. Yeah, it's the same bug that you're seeing. You can see that there's vines hanging down. There's quite a bit of moss, different things like that. There's that same churning sensation in your stomach. It's rather disorientating for just a second before. It's kind of like when you just go over the crest of a roller coaster and you first have your stomach drop, and then like you get used to it because you ride roller coasters a lot. But like it's that first moment of sensation where you're like just beginning to have your stomach turn. That's the sensation that you're getting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do I see anything like off in the distance, or is it?
Go ahead and roll a perception check.
16.
Yeah. You're not seeing a whole lot of things specifically. It's a forest. You can see off in the distance, there is a mounded, roundish shape with one line kind of sticking up out of it, and there's a little twinkle kind of in the middle of it.
I'm gonna follow the twinkle.
Okay.
Oh, that's not a good okay. That
No,
doesn't
that's great.
sound like
This
a good
is fantastic.
okay.
This is
Oh
awesome.
no.
So you begin making your way towards this little twinkle, and as the closer you get, the more that you realize that's a hut with one little singular chimney coming out. There's no smoke coming out of the chimney. There is one twinkle as there's a lantern hanging out front. This hut is this patchwork brick hut with like a thatched roof that has been overgrown by moss and vines and decay. It still works. It looks like there's no holes in the roof or anything like that. It's just been overtaken by vegetation, very green and lush to kind of match the surrounding landscape. And there's just that singular lantern outside of the hut hanging by the doorway.
Okay, are there any like windows?
Yep. There's windows on either side of the door. It's dark on the inside. If you were to press your face up, you would see what looks to be a fairly well furnished home. It looks like there's a living room that faces that fireplace. You can see skulls line the mantelpiece of different animals. There's like ox skulls. You can even see like something that looks fairly humanoid with curling teeth. Not like an orc where the teeth like curl out from the bottom, but literally like the teeth come around and then curl out. It's rather interesting. You can see a variety of other skulls of different animals and stuff over the mantelpiece. There's a kitchen behind it, and then just behind the living room is another kind of array of random objects and creepy instruments and all that display that you saw in that first shop.
Okay. So I don't see anybody.
Nope. It's dark in there, and there's nobody that you can see.
Then I'm gonna go in. I want to see if the door's unlocked. If I can go in.
Yeah, you jingle the door, and it's not locked. It opens, swings wide. Nothing happens. Nobody emerges.
Do I see any extra rooms?
So to your right is that living room with the fireplace. To the left is that conglomeration of items, and then back behind there is their kitchen. And then you can see there is a very, very small hallway to the right, just past the living room, that has another room behind it.
Okay. I'm gonna very quietly make my way to that room.
Nice. Yeah. Go ahead and roll a stealth check for me.
Another 16.
Nice. Yeah. So you make your way. As you go past the living room, you can see that there is a rug, um, not like a bearskin rug or any other animal that you recognize. It kind of has this. It's a whitish furred rug with purplish lavender stains on it. Is kind of what it looks like. Um, and instead of there being like the body with the arm sticking out and the head at the top and the legs at the bottom, you can see that there's 3 sets of limbs along with the back legs, and there's no head attached to this. But you walk past that and you make your way towards this back room, and the doors again open. It's a little bit darker in here. Do you have dark vision? I think you do, right? You're a wood elf, right?
Yeah, I have dark vision.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can kind of dimly see in black and white as you go back here. You go into this room, and there is again another one of these kind of sacks of dirt and grass, the dimple in it, kind of the beanbag of grass. And that's basically it inside this room. There's not a whole lot outside of it. Yeah, it seems like the person, whoever lives here, basically has this room devoted for whatever this item is, whatever this place is.
Okay. And that's everything in this house?
Basically, yeah. It's not a large establishment by any means.
Okay.
It's a vaulted ceiling, so you can see up past the chimney into the struts that support the ceiling and everything like that. So there's not an upper level. It's just the kitchen, the living room, this conglomeration of items, and this one back room that has very little in it.
Okay. Riniya's gonna head back out.
Okay. Yeah.
And make her way back.
Okay.
I'm so scared I'm missing something very big. Okay. So yeah, I'm going back.
Fantastic. That's totally great. So you make your way back towards the curtains and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Sweet. Do you step through them?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll a d20 for me.
Okay. Oh, that's an 8.
You are you're so lucky.
Oh, I thought you want to say something else, and I was not ready for that.
So you make your way back through, and yeah, you come back through, and the frog is still there. From what you can tell, there's been no change in daylight. It's been about an hour, so it's getting about high noon by now. But that's to be expected. You were gone in this place for about an hour, and it seems like that's been about the amount of time that's traveled here. And so yeah, you are still by yourself with only this toad to keep you company in this creepy place.
I'm just gonna again lean down to the toad and be like, I don't know what to do with you. And then just stand back up. And then do I hear them still upstairs?
It's actually quiet upstairs now.
Okay. So I'm gonna head upstairs.
Okay. So are you trying to do this sneakily?
Yes.
All right, roll stealth for me.
Natural 20.
Oh, lovely. So you begin to exit this room and make your way back towards the stairs. And as you're heading towards the kind of U-turn to go up the stairs, you notice out of the corner of your eye there's a crack in the curtain, and you can see that there is now a figure out front, behind that counter, kind of fidgeting with different things. You can tell that it is a woman. She's kind of hunched over with these silvery locks that go down to probably about her knees, this kind of thin silvery hair. Her arms are elongated and her fingers, again, this creepily long, unnatural way. And she's kind of tinkering with this object, trying to get what looks like to be the top of it to come off of possibly a jar or an item. You can't really tell in the glance that you get, but that's what you see. You manage to catch this just in time to stop and hold your breath, make sure you're not making any noises. Do you want to continue upstairs?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, so you make your way up the stairs as quietly as you can, not making a single sound, trying to keep an eye on that curtain to see if she comes back. And you make your way up to this door, and it's actually open now, just ever so slightly cracked open. And as you peek through, you can see that there are 3 men who are all, 2 of them. This room is fairly well furnished. There's about 3 couches on either of the opposing walls. So the one on the left, one on the right, and then one on the back wall. And you can see that there's one man who seems to be sitting there, and he's just sharpening a knife with a whetstone. And then 2 others are laying on these couches with their hats pulled over their faces, kind of snoring ever so slightly, taking a nap.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Do I see anything in the room that... See, I'm not good at this detective stuff. You know, the healing thing, I'll be good at that. But this like clue thing, okay. Yeah, okay. So is there anything like, okay. Yeah. So, okay, is there anything in the room?
Yeah.
Actually, no, I know. I'm gonna look at their feet.
Okay.
Do their feet look like the feet prints I saw before?
Go ahead and roll a... You can either roll history or perception, whichever one you would like.
Let's do perception. That was a good one. That would be a 17.
Yeah, so you're eyeballing these boots, and the 2 that are sleeping have their boots off so they can prop their feet up on the couches. And one of them has his boots neatly stacked next to each other, and the other one just kind of like kicked them off. And you can see there's one boot that's still standing up, but the other one is kind of laying on its side with its tread facing you. And you think back to the tread that you saw in the dust and in the mud, and it is pretty similar, if not the same tread along that boot. And as you look at it, you can see there's little flakes of mud and dirt with what looks like a thin layer of dust along the bottom of his shoe.
Okay. Is there... okay. I gotta be careful because these guys can probably take me out pretty quickly. Okay. I'm gonna... There's only 2 of them, right?
So there's 2 that you're sleeping on the couch, and then there's one more that's sharpening his knife with a whetstone.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's an important detail I forgot about. That's an important detail for what I'm doing next. Okay. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do a cool thing. Which might not be a cool thing, but we'll go for it. Okay, I'm going to cast...
Okay.
No, I'm not. Never mind. I'm sorry, I got excited. Okay. Because now I'm trapped. Now I'm trapped in this place. Just me and this toad guy. We're the only ones. Okay. Ooh, here's an idea. Oh, nope, that's not what I thought it was. I'm sorry. I'm getting so excited and then just disappointing myself. Okay.
As you're sitting here trying to figure out what to do with yourself.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Riniya this whole time. It's just like, oh, what do I do? What do I do?
As you're trying to figure that out, you can hear kind of a don't. And then that was a poor sound effect, but you can hear like the thuds of something landing. And then this older, kind of deepish woman going, "Ah, look at you, my pretty. Ah, what is that?"
Is this toad about to blow my cover?
Oh, is that so?
Oh, he totally did.
Interesting.
I thought we were friends. Oh no.
And you hear her kind of rumble about and rustle about, and then silence. What do you do?
Okay, so there's just the stairs. There isn't anything else. There's stairs into the room. Okay.
There's stairs, and like a 2-foot platform that has a door frame on it that is ever so creaked open to the room that leads with 3 guys.
Okay. I'm I'm just gonna stay put.
Okay. Are you gonna try and hide it all?
Is there anywhere I can hide?
Um.
Okay, here's the question.
Yeah.
Does the door open out towards me or inward?
It opens inwards.
Can't hide behind the door.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll stealth just to see how flat and quiet you really can make yourself.
Oh, that's not good. That's a 10.
Okay, so you like lay down and then just like curl into a ball on this little platform in front of this door. And you can, for a moment, you could hear like the flapping of a fly's wing. Like it's that deathly quiet for just a second before you hear footsteps coming. And then as the curtain kind of pulls aside, and you can see this greenish woman. She's fairly tall, probably about 7 feet tall, even with this kind of hump in her back. She pulls the curtain aside and then begins to walk towards her room. Oof. And as she's going just past the stairs, you can see her stop and just turn her head just a little bit, and her eyes kind of flicker around before they just flick up to you and make eye contact with you. And she releases this big, sharp-toothed, really wide, uncanny grin as she looks at you. You can see that she has this toad on her shoulder, on her right shoulder, and she just kind of looks at you with this grin and raises her right hand and just kind of twiddles her fingers at you and waves with these like probably about 6 to 8 inch long fingers on top of like a regular sized palm. So ridiculously long fingers that she just kind of like waves at you, and then she keeps going towards the other room.
So she just leaves me?
Yeah.
I don't like that. Okay. What do I do? Okay. See, this is why I need a team. Okay, Riniya is going to. So she's out of my view now.
Yeah, so she went past just where you can see, just because of the nature of the stairs. If you look past since there's no banister, you can look down the rail or past the kind of platform that you're on, and you can see that she had walked into what you now assume is to be her room, and has closed the door behind her.
Okay, I'm gonna go down to her room and see if I hear her saying anything.
Yeah, you sneak down to her room. You push your ear against the door, and you can't hear anything. It's just quiet.
Okay. I'm gonna go in.
Nice. So you, like a child trying to sneak back into his room after staying up too late watching television, you just ever so barely turn the knob, slowly, patiently, perfectly, making sure so as to not let a single noise escape, and then quietly just push the door open. And you don't see anybody.
I'm shutting the door.
You shut the door, or do you try and do that sneakily, or do you slam it?
I'm not slam it, just quickly shut it, and then
Yeah.
Okay. Did she take the toad with her?
Yeah, you don't see a toad at all.
Oh, DJ, you got me in a pickle that I don't know how to get out of. Okay, Oh, I should have done that thing I was gonna do, and then I said I wasn't gonna do, and then I should have done that. Okay. Riniya is going to. I'm gonna go back in the room.
Okay.
Does anything look different?
No, it looks exactly how you left it. There's no objects that are missing from the shelves. There's no new traces of entry or exit, anything like that. It's just the exact same way that you left it.
Okay. I'm gonna back out.
Okay.
And close the door again.
Yep.
And I'm going to go to hallway, peek up, and do I see if anything's changed upstairs?
No, nothing's changed upstairs.
Okay. Riniya's just gonna take a moment to herself and be like, okay, you got this. You can figure it out. It's for the kids. Samuel, he's so cute. You're gonna figure it out. Okay, we can do it. It's fine. Everything's fine. All right, let's go. And she's gonna go back out to the front.
Okay.
Open the door again so the bell rings.
Yeah.
And close it.
Okay.
And then start very obnoxiously walking around, being like, oh, what a lovely little place here. Wow. Oh, look at all these little knickknacks. Wow, they're so cool. Wow.
Nice.
This bone structure of this instrument. It matches mine.
Yeah. So you go through and you begin meandering and commenting, and eventually you hear heavy bootsteps kind of coming downstairs, before a scruffed, burly man. You recognize him to be the one that was sharpening a knife, which you can see is strapped to his side. Okay. He's a little bit on the huskier side. He's got a little bit of that tum-tum going around his waist. And he kind of comes up and he just goes past the curtain and he goes, "Hey, store's closed. Leave."
Oh, well, the door was unlocked. I just thought it would be a really cool place to check out. I've never been to this part of town before, and it's very fascinating. Do you own this place?
No.
Oh, can I talk to the owner?
No.
Okay. And I'm gonna I'm gonna cast command.
Okay. Do I need to make a save for that?
A wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom saving throw. Oof. Okay. Does a 10 succeed?
No.
Yeah. Okay. What do you command him to do? It's one word, right? Okay.
Leave.
He doesn't say anything, and he just turns and goes past the counter and then walks out the door.
I just give a little. And then I'm going to run upstairs.
Yeah.
Well, quietly run upstairs. I'm going to quickly and quietly go upstairs.
Roll a stealth check with disadvantage.
Okay, that's a 14. And that's a 13.
Okay. All right. You make your way upstairs. Yeah, you're quiet as a mouse compared to these guys.
Are they still sleeping?
They are.
Okay. Time to wander around the room and see what I can find.
Okay. So you enter the door, and you can see that there's one guy on the back couch, and then you could just barely see like the boots of another guy on the far right couch before the door blocked the view. And as you open the door a little bit further and see into that far right corner, you can actually see there's 3 mummies, basically, of bed sheets kind of tied in the corners with ropes going across what looks like what their head would be.
I'm gonna go over and try to untie it.
Okay. It's not hard. It's not like it's a complicated knot. As soon as you untie one of them, they go, help me. He keeps going as the whole head is covered. So it's not like the kids can see you by any means. It's just that they're like wrapped up, kind of tied up in these things with their heads covered, and then a rope across where their mouth would be. So he can't quite see you. So he continues to make a little bit of noise. Of course, not enough to make the guard wake up.
Okay.
You quickly like cover his mouth, and then you could still hear him like whimpering, but he's not making enough noise at the moment.
Okay. Which kid is this?
Based off of his size, you guess that this is the older boy, Jonathan. He's a little bit that huskier older boy that you recognize as missing.
Okay, so he can't see me?
No.
Okay, I'm just gonna be like, Jonathan, it's me. It's Riniya. I'm here, okay? You gotta be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna get you guys out, okay? Just be quiet, okay? And then I'm gonna go to the other 2 and do the same.
Yeah, it's the same process. You pull off their gags, and they immediately begin to whimper. I'll do one more check. Okay. Go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check for me.
Okay.
This is to see how quickly you can cover their mouths and keep them quiet.
15.
Perfect. That's exactly what you needed. And so the much smaller of the 3 kids is the one who tries to make the most noise. You recognize, obviously, as Samuel. But you manage to cover him, and as soon as he hears your voice, he goes quiet. And in recognition of you, and you go through the same process of telling him to be quiet, that you're going to help him. What are you gonna do now?
Okay, now Does it look like I will be able to untie them and wrap them in
Yeah,
an efficient amount of time?
There's not like wrapped very complicatedly. It's a
Yeah.
bed sheet that they just kind of spun around the kids, and then tied a knot in the end to keep them from undoing it. So it's a pretty loose knot. It's more the ropes that were around around their chest that kept their hands from being able to fidget at the knot, and then the ropes around their mouth. And so you go through and you untie their chests, and are able to pull them around, and you manage to pull the sheets off, and you can see each one of them has a look of panic and fear in their eyes, and they just look at you desperately, hoping that you can help them.
It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get out of here, okay? But I need you to do exactly what I say, and I need you to stay close, okay? And then I'm going to like put my finger up and then just point to the door. And like indicating for them to walk towards the door. But as they're doing that, I'm going to stand in front of them, between them and the couch that the two guys are sleeping on.
Yeah.
So if the two guys wake up, they gotta go through me.
Okay. Yeah. The kids kind of nod in recognition of what you're saying and begin to go down. And you stand in front of the kids and the door, kind of between them and the other two guards. And the last kid leaves. It's Samuel who leaves. And you decide to go out the door, at which point you can see the three kids are frozen with fear as they look down, like midway through the stairs. As they look down, you can see that woman, that greenish figure, just standing there, just waiting for you with her fingers kind of interlaced. Hello, my pretty. Why don't you come downstairs? And she's gesturing towards you.
I'm going to turn to the kids and be like, everything's going to be okay. As soon as you see an open pathway, you run. Okay? I'm going to make sure you get out fine, but you need to run, okay?
You should listen to the girl, children.
Scratch that. Don't do what I said. Figure it out. You'll do fine, okay? I got a little meeting. And I'm just gonna very quickly just kiss each one of their heads and then go down.
So the thing about it though is you have three kids on these stairs that are all like frozen with fear and don't really want to move. And there's no like banister for you to prop yourself up against. So I'm going to have you roll an acrobatics check to see if you can make your way around these kids without them needing to move.
Oh.
Without like falling off this staircase.
Oh, 17.
Nice. Yeah. So like a graceful ballerina, you just take Samuel and you just kind of, he's the one on the as being the last one, he's the one furthest out as they all kind of like lined up in a row, and you just kind of take him and you go, "Hi, Samuel," and just kind of move him to the side and then strut your way down the very edge of this bannerless staircase, and make your way towards this woman. You can see that as you get closer, she's heavily wrinkled, and there are moles and warts across her face. As you get closer, she smiles very big with these stained yellow teeth that almost are stained this pinkish tint towards the tips. And as you make your way towards her, she just smiles.
I'm not getting too close to her. I'm just getting...
Perfect. How far away do you stay from her?
How far away is she from the stairs?
So the stairs, she's right in front of the curtain, and the stairs are probably about 5 feet away from there. It's about 1 square, I'd say, before the stairs go up. So if you go to the base of the stairs, you'd be about 5 feet from each other, just on the outskirts of each other's melee range.
Okay, I'm gonna be a few steps on the stairs.
Yeah.
I want the high ground, you know.
Definitely. It worked. It worked for Obi-Wan. It will work here. Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll say you're about 10 feet away from her. And she just looks at you and goes, "The children want to leave."
Yes. You took them.
I did not take them. Marcel did not take anything. But if you want them to leave, I will need compensation.
What do you mean, compensation?
Something to wet my whistle for the ongoing political battle that I will have to go through in explaining the disappearance.
I'm sorry. I'm still not. I don't understand crazy green talk. These kids are coming with me.
Oh, yes. As soon as you give me something that I would want.
Well, what could your beautiful, golden, good heart want?
Oh, there are very many things I would want. Your pretty hair, perhaps? Or your fair skin? A simple favor could be arranged as well. I don't suppose you'd have anything of value to trade for the children. She, as she says that, her mouth widens into this disgusting toothy smile. This one like slightly agape, and you can see saliva connecting a couple of her teeth on either side as she just sits here grinning at you.
Okay. Riniya is going to say, yes, well, I think only an absolute fool would make a deal with you. And then I'm gonna cast inflict wounds on this lady.
Okay, all right. Yeah, roll to hit. Don't you have to touch her for inflict wounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's say you have a surprise round.
Okay.
We roll initiative. So go ahead and you run up to her. That's 10 feet of your movement. Go ahead and cast your spell.
That's a 16 to hit.
So you go up, and with a uncanny speed to someone who has gestured and spoken so slowly, she immediately sidesteps and grabs your wrist before throwing you back towards the stairs, and you kind of stumble back, kind of tripping over these stairs as you kind of fall on your butt. Is there anything else that you'd like to do on your turn?
That's all.
Awesome. Go ahead and roll initiative.
Woo! I'll take this fight. Okay, that's 21.
What is your dex score?
My dex score is +3.
+3? Perfect. So you're going to go first. What would you like to do?
Well, I just used up all my spell slots. So now we go in with the mace.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah. So she throws you back down onto these stairs, at which point you trip over and kind of fall backwards on these stairs. And you, with sheer determination, knowing that the kids are behind you, stand back up again and pull out your mace and go in to swing at her. Go ahead and roll a hit.
That's a 18.
Perfect. Yeah. So that hits. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. That is 3 points of damage. Starting off with the hard hits.
Okay. So you go in and you run up and you crack it. And you managed to get up fairly quickly, faster than she expected. So she didn't quite realize that you were going to come in and swing. So she managed to just bring up her arm a little bit as you slam your mace into the side of her. And she kind of like stumbles over to the side a little bit before sneering at you with this toothy glare. She goes, "You dare!" And she begins to like reach out towards you. Anything else that you're going to do on your turn?
No, that's all I can do.
So she reaches out towards you, and she's going to as she reaches out towards you, the already elongated fingers become even longer as these kind of claws begin to extend from where her fingernails are, and she just reaches out towards you and tries to swipe at your chest. Ooh, it does a 8 hit.
No.
Sweet. So she reaches out towards you and swipes at your throat, but you manage to step back a little bit, at which point 2 of the kids notice that she's now past the curtain and you're kind of in front of her. And so they go booking it down. It's just Samuel, who's now up on the staircase by himself, kind of frozen with fear.
No.
She, yeah. So after she swings out towards you, her claws kind of reach in, and then she just goes, and then she disappears.
Okay.
So yeah, it's your turn.
Okay, so now it's okay.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Like, gosh, wow.
Okay. Riniya is gonna go up the stairs. So the stairs doesn't have a railing, but is there like a wall on one side of it?
Yeah, so there's a wall on one side and the stairs just come out from it, and there's no railing on the other side. So right now she's next, kind of beneath, next to the stairs, basically, or she was before she disappeared. Basically just beneath Samuel. So with her height, she probably could have reached up and grabbed him, because there's no banister.
Okay. She's gonna go up and kind of push him back against the wall and like be ready to protect him.
Perfect. Yeah. Do you want to prepare an action or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm just gonna ready my mace.
Okay, perfect. What is the trigger?
Her nasty little green face.
Yeah. So you push Samuel back a little bit, at which point he like latches onto your arm that you're kind of holding him back with. And then hold up your mace with your other arm. She then, at which point you just kind of wait in silence for just a second before the board just above you gets ripped out from beneath. And this kind of greenish hand kind of starts reaching up in towards Samuel. Go ahead and roll your attack.
Hi-ya! Oh, that's a 19 plus something, but I'm pretty sure that hits.
Awesome. Yeah, you definitely hit her. You go in and you smack the hand with your mace. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay. Ooh, that's better. That's better. That's 6 points of damage.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. You go in and this board gets ripped out almost from beneath you guys, and you can see this green hand as she reappears now that she's taken an action. And you just go in and you swing in towards the wall and manage to like pin her hand between your mace and the wall, and it's pretty grotesque as you watch like a whole finger like turn sideways from the direction that should be.
I cover Samuel's eyes.
Yeah. At which point she reaches back in pain. And she again, this time she doesn't bother to like even try and go invisible. She just begins to reach up towards the board that you guys are standing on. It's your turn again.
Okay. I'm just gonna. Okay, I'm going to. Would it be an action to like grab Samuel?
He's a smaller creature than you, so he'd be within your carrying rate. I'd say it'd be a free action to pick him up.
Okay, I'm gonna put him on my back,
Okay.
like a little piggyback ride,
Yep.
and use my movement to get as far to the front as I can,
Okay.
with my back always facing away from her.
Okay, perfect. Going backwards, I'll say that takes will take 10 feet off your movement as you can't see where you're going. So like that. So you manage to make your way 20 feet in through the building. You're just in front of the door to the shop. Not quite out of the shop, but just in front of it.
Okay, and I'm gonna let him down.
Okay, perfect.
And then would I be able to do another action, or would
so you've used up your movement and a free action. We'll say that picking up Samuel was your bonus action, so you still have your action.
Okay, so we going with the mace again. Am I close enough to her?
So she's still back at the staircase. So she's 20 feet away from you at the moment.
Okay, so then I only have 30 feet of movement.
Yeah.
So I'll just ready my mace.
10. Yeah, so you used up the 10, and then it was 20 feet to get to. You used up technically all 30, going that 20 feet.
Okay, so
you prepare your action, same thing?
Yeah, I'll just ready my mace.
Awesome. Yeah. For just a moment, it's quiet again before this massive green clawed hand, this time with this pinky like turned out sideways, goes tearing through the curtain as she comes reaching around, and she just begins throwing random items at you, squealing about you dare to come into her home and attack her, and she's just throwing these random knickknacks before she finally approaches you and goes to like pick you up. Go ahead and roll your attack.
Hiya! Oh. That's 13.
So it doesn't quite hit. She goes in, seeing that you're like ready, you take a step forward and swing, at which point she just like steps back before she lurches in to like grab you from beneath your armpits. Go ahead and roll an athletics check for me.
Okay. This dice loves me. That was a 19 plus 2. 21.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, she goes in and she grabs your arms, at which point you just kind of shake out of it and take a step back. Your turn.
Mace.
Yeah, go to hit
her. That's a 18.
That will hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
That's another 6.
Ooh, look at you coming in clutch, swinging hard. So you go in and she grabs you and you just shake out of it before slamming this mace. This time into like her collarbone. Causing you to take a step or two back. And she kind of reaches and then, and then she goes to give you a backhand. Does a 16 hit?
My armor class is 16.
So yes, it does.
No, I can never remember if it's.
Yeah, so it's that and above your armor, the number of your armor class and above hits.
Got you.
Ooh, you lucky. Ooh, okay. That's the average. How does 13 hit points sound to you?
Not good.
So she goes in and she backhands you so hard that you go kind of reeling back a little bit before she reaches forward and she grabs Samuel and pulls him under her arm and then just sticks one claw beneath his chin, and she just like looks at you.
DJ?
Yeah.
I'm unconscious.
Oh, very nice. Cool. So as your vision kind of blurs, you can see that she has Samuel with this one claw underneath her. She looks down at you and realizes as you're kind of fading in and out of consciousness before your vision goes black. And that's where we'll end your one shot.
DJ, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. So for those of you who enjoyed this, you can come back. We'll be streaming on Monday. You can see more reactions like this.
No. Wait,
We'll
no,
be
DJ, you can't. You can't. Oh,
lots of stuff to figure out. It'll be good.
oh no.
So yeah, if you want to see more of Lydia suffering this way, make sure that you're tuning into the Paper Dungeon. We stream at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time every single Monday. We'll also be streaming at 7 o'clock on Fridays for the month of August, trying to get through all these character one-shots. Next
It's
up will
gonna
be
be so
Hannah
much
this
fun.
following Monday. It will be tons of fun. You'll get to see lots of
be so
reactions like
great.
this with everyone else freaking out as well. So this should be super, super great.
I'm gonna be totally helpful. I know it.
Cool. Lydia, do you have anything that you want to say?
Bye.
Cool. Well, we look forward to seeing as many of you guys want to tune in. We look forward to hearing from all of you guys. We love all your comments, all the suggestions that you give us. So feel free to let us know. You can follow us at the Paper Dungeon on just about any social media. We also have our website, thepaperdungeon.com. Feel free to go check it out if you're looking for the character art or any other info, stuff like that. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and end this session. So yeah, you guys have a great night. We look forward to seeing you guys next Monday. So long, guys.